Vic here with you, and we are joined by the great Justin Bradford here on the program, live from Hermitage Golf Course. Justin Bradford, now Director of Marketing and Communications for Special Olympics Tennessee. Justin, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. I'm great. How are y'all?
We're great. Appreciate you having us out here today.
Absolutely.
We'll get to Pret's Facebook comments here in just a few minutes because I know that's always a special place in your heart. But this is something that you're very passionate about. Obviously, you're relatively new with Special Olympics Tennessee. What's been your experience thus far in your new role, and what are we out here trying to accomplish today?
I mean, it's been absolutely phenomenal to learn. I started back in April and was thrown right into the mix of things. And I think the biggest learning point for me is realizing that Special Olympics and all the organizations across the country and the world, it's not a one-time event. These are sports events that are happening all year round, and it's not, again, like just track and field. It's so many different sports that are being offered to Special Olympics athletes, and that's what's been phenomenal to me, is seeing the compete level, the level of athleticism, the camaraderie, the fellowship that our athletes are enjoying when they're in the field of play and when they're not, where they're supporting each other. But it's giving opportunities, and that's what it's all about, is opportunities. And I mean, we're at a golf course, and I've been completely blown away with the golfers in Special Olympics Tennessee when I'm asking them, so how you doing? Oh, well, I got a couple birdies. And you got a couple birdies?
Just a couple.
It's just amazing the talent level that's out there. And I think that's one of those things that I want people to understand, is that this is a sports organization, and we provide athletic competition for athletes with intellectual disabilities, but the compete level is like none other out there. You go and see an athletic event, and you're seeing sports happening.
How much of that did you, discover in the trip to Orlando? Because that was obviously a big deal.
Yeah, the USA Games in Orlando, this is just like the Olympics. Every 4 years you have your USA Games. And it was at Disney World, so the ESPN Wide World of Sports completely took over that entire complex. And you're just seeing thousands upon thousands of athletes participating. I mean, ESPN was broadcasting it on TV and streaming. I mean, Tim Tebow was there cheering on the athletes in flag football, which they were in that. And I was blown away by the competition. And that's what opened my eyes to what Special Olympics does, is providing those opportunities for competition, because it's intense. I mean, flag football, as anyone who's played recreational sports, it's still physical. Flag football is still a very physical sport.
Oh, yeah.
So there's bodies banging, things like that. It is a very physical sport out there. I mean, we're seeing it already be considered for the Olympics on the women's side, and it's an opportunity to compete. And so that's what opened my eyes, is the level of skill that these athletes have, but more so what it means to them. You're not going to see the amount of pure joy from an athlete, of just untethered joy, that you're going to see anywhere else but a Special Olympics event. And that's what opened my eyes, is seeing so many thousands of people come together to support something so huge. And I didn't realize how big it was. I did not realize how big USA Games was until I saw us take over an entire complex, and us take over Disney World, where they shut down Animal Kingdom for Special Olympics, where everyone, they made a whole parade at Magic Kingdom for Special Olympics. That's what opened my eyes to see how big it is.
So you bring up the USA Games for Special Olympics. Could that be something that we see in Nashville at any point?
Well, that's a very good question there, Robbie. Yes, that is something we are very much looking into right now, is bringing USA Games to Nashville. And Nashville, no stranger to hosting huge events, the NHL All-Star Game, the NFL Draft, so many other things. The NHL Draft's coming back to Nashville as well, too. So no stranger to hosting big events. USA Games is a huge event. And when I say huge event, we're talking an economic impact of potentially over $100 million.
Wow.
That's what I want people to understand, is the scale of how big that event is that economic impact, where you're having 3,000 plus athletes, 10,000 plus volunteers, 100,000 plus spectators, 1,000 plus media people coming into the city to just talk about Nashville and all of the great things that Nashville is going on. And usually we're partnering with so many organizations. For instance, down in Orlando, the opening ceremonies were at the soccer stadium down in Orlando. That's huge. And then they're taking place all across the city. So this is a huge thing that impacts an entire city, where everyone's learning about what Special Olympics does, because a bowling alley has to get taken over, a whole tennis complex is taken over, swimming. And Nashville's growing so much to offer these types of facilities to be able to host an event of this level. That's what you need, is you have to have a city that can host this many people.
Yeah.
And Nashville absolutely can, especially by 2030. And it takes that much time to put it together. Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the University of Minnesota was hosting it in 2026. They're already promoting that now. in 2022. That's how big of an event this is, that 4 years out, you're already promoting it. That's how big it could be for the city of Nashville.
What's the timing on that in terms of applying? Who else is, do you know? I don't know if it's even gotten to the point where you would know who else might be bidding or competing. You got a good sense for all that?
We have a couple of ideas. It's one of those things, too, where they're basically telling us, if you apply, it will come. So that's what's going to be needed from the city of Nashville, is that when we really do fully launch this campaign, we need your support in saying to Special Olympics that we want USA Games in Nashville. Make Nashville the choice. We want to host this. We want to show how inclusive we are as a city to bring Special Olympics athletes here to the city of Nashville to showcase what the city has to offer. So we have an idea of a couple other cities that are in there. Timing, we're looking at about a year and a half before we know. But that's, again, shows how far out the planning process is. Just like the Olympics, you have to plan many, many years out to make sure this event happens.
Justin Bradford on with us here on Robbie and Rexo. So, Justin, there could be people listening right now that say, all right, well, this sounds really cool. I want to get involved with this. And we've talked about this today. We're going to be out here all morning. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace will be out here all morning as well for the golf tournament itself. If you'd like to donate, text the word GIVE. That's GIVE to 615-270-9948. But what are some other ways that people who may be interested can get involved and help out here?
Absolutely, and I know you're going to have more guests on that are going to talk about this too, but we have so many different things that aren't just athletic events. We have health screenings that are taking place. We have young athletes, which are focusing on kids with and without intellectual disabilities, and we need volunteers at those events. If you go to our website, specialolympics.tn.org, and click on Get Involved, and you see volunteer there's a full calendar where you can just look at the day of the week, click on it, and you're going to see all the different events that are taking place. So whether it's your company, individually, your family, we need you as a volunteer to really be involved with our athletes, help them through the process. It could be officiating games. It could be being a coach. It could be just helping at a registry table or handing out T-shirts. There's so many different ways based on the level of commitment you want that you can get involved and really help our athletes in the community.
Our buddy Jim Chandler on Twitter wants you to plug your Untitled Film Pod Black Adam episode. Just pass along a message.
No. People might miss me ranting on radio. That's where you're going to hear a nice big old rant is on that one.
Speaking of ranting, what's up with the Preds?
Say I retired for a reason. People are blaming me now for that. It's like, oh, Bradford retires, and it is my fault.
We found the issue.
Go to the Facebook group, and you're gonna see what's going on.
It is Justin Bradford. Justin, really appreciate you being with us this morning. Looking forward to being out here all morning and raising awareness and having people have a chance to help out, and appreciate you being with us.
Thanks, guys. Really